brought to you by the Wicked and Wicked Koalition. To the 12 tribes scattered worldwide. Shalom. Really head dark skin, son of the Most High, yeah. Sing. Come on back there. Come on. I better get your money tonight. It's meaningless to struggle, don't fight. Loosen up your body's too tight. It's okay, it's alright. Here's a message from the 12 lost tribes. The funk will make a sad baby stop crying. I make fish without goose, start frying. I know you like it once you hear him stop lying. I feel good the more your body just try. It's okay, it's alright. Yeah, it's alright. Oh. Yeah. He gave us shout out to the Most High. Yeah.
Shalom, 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 shalom to all of you, my Heavenly Father's children. Once again, we are grateful to have an opportunity to once again come together, study the Bible together, read, pray, share with one another. It's a very beautiful thing. Last night, or yesterday, no, it was last night, we got together and we talked about the collapse of this empire, and we talked about the evil empires of the world and how all of the empires of the world have a life cycle. And these life cycles are just what they are. There's the birth of a nation. I should say an empire. I'll use that word. There'll be a birth of an empire. Then the empire begins to rise, and then as it rises, it reaches a pinnacle. Once the pinnacle of that empire has been reached, it begins to decline. When an empire begins to decline, because, and I don't know if I mentioned this yesterday, but one of the things that actually causes the accelerated crashing or crash or collapse of an empire is that all the empires do the same exact thing. And that is all of the empires become top heavy. They become heavy at the head and weak at the bottom. Of course, that's a perfect picture of something that's going to fall over and collapse. You can't put all the weight on the top and then the body is weak. And so that's what happens in all of the empires also. It's another characteristic of the fall of an empire. And when all of the power is in a few hands, when all of the wealth is just in a few people's hands, when all the authority to make certain decisions is in a few hands, when when you look at the empire, and it's just the empire and a handful of people that are basically benefiting from the empire, while the empire begins to squeeze and begins to suffocate the citizens of the empire, again, that's when you start seeing the fall or the collapse of said empire. It happens to all of them, and it's happening right now. Now, there's reasons that I was going to get into yesterday, and my time ran out on me. I was going to get into some deeper reasons for the collapsing empires, as I mentioned, top heavy, and where everything is just about whoever is politically in power, quote unquote special interests, and I can go on and on. Inflation not outpacing wages and things like that is this a recipe for disaster. But there's more than that. My place in the house of Israel is not to necessarily try to be some kind of I'm not like an economist, nor am I a military strategist. I have no interest in the Pentagon. I don't have no interest in politics and none of that kind of stuff. My interest is purely biblical, theological. My interest has to do with the Torah, what I see in prophecy, and how the biblical prophecies relate to what we see going on. That is my emphasis. And of course, my emphasis is not purely observational. My goal is not to get you to just see something, to observe something. The goal of our time together is to get you to be obedient to the Most High Yah. Not to just see what he's doing, but to fall in line with what he's doing. To submit yourself to him, to humble yourself under his mighty hand, that he may or might exalt you in due time, casting all of your cares upon him because he cares for you. So my goal is you, Zion. And when I say Zion, let me make this clear because I'm going to be treading a little deep tonight. Let me make this clear. When I say Zion, I'm never, ever, ever, never, 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 ever, ever, never, ever talking about the Zionists. I'm going to go on record saying this to the whole wide world. I give less than a damn concerning these Europeans who have created a political power on this earth called Zionism and the Zionists. I'm not concerned about who they are and what they're doing. When I say Zion, I'm talking about the house of Israel scattered to the four corners of the earth. When I talk about the children of Zion, I'm talking about the actual bloodline descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I'm talking about the real bloodline descendants of the covenant relationship. And according to the Bible, the ones that have been scattered to the four corners of the earth in captivity. If y'all can see the moray and hear me all right and understand that crystal clear, before we even get started, put a hallelujah 100 in this chat, please. Don't you ever think I'm talking about no Zionists. I'm never talking about them Gentiles that's over there trampling our holy land underfoot and doing things there that they ought not. When I talk about Zion, I'm talking about us. I'm talking about the sons and daughters of the slave trade that still reside in the lands of your captivities. Most of you watching me, you still in the land where your grandmother and grandfather were actually slaves, fettered, shackled slaves, roped slaves, beat slaves, robbed and pillaged 400 years, never given a nickel, dime, or quarter. And to this day, with all of the evidence of the crimes against humanity, you and I are the only ones that the world is against giving reparation. They give it to everybody else with no problem. And that's because they're following biblical prophecy, and Abba Yah is preserving a special kind of hell, a special kind of wrath, a special kind of punishment. He is preserving these wicked people for himself to punish, according to the revelation. When you get in that revelation and read it like it's supposed to be read, you're going to find out when when our king come back and rescue his remnant, he's going after everyone who touched the apple of his eye. And the scriptures say the blood is going to rise to the horse's bridle. Some of this wickedness he's preserving to kill himself. He's like, y'all move. You move over there. You move over there. I'm doing this. Now, if you don't like that, that's not my problem. It's not my problem. That's your problem. You the one been carrying your Bible all over the place, acting like you holy and ain't never read it. If you would have read it, you would have known that's how this book ends. He saves the remnant and kills everybody else. That's how the Bible ends. So this collapse, this is where I'm going, by the way. There's more to this collapse than just the natural, ordinary, I can't use two words in the same sentence. In the natural, ordinary order of things, you can always look at the empires, they all do the same thing, but this one is different. Why is that, Maury? Because one, it's a divided empire. All these kings without power, I should say kings without real authority. I was watching the news the other day, and it was funny because they kept saying, I was rolling too. I'm like, the Bible is so clear, right? I was watching the news the other day, and it was like, what's the purpose of having a world council? What's the purpose of having a United Nations if everybody in the nation can make a statement and say no, 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 and one nation say, yeah, we're going to do this, and everybody got to do it. They was like, what's that all about? Why are we even kings? Well, if you'd have read the Bible, you'd have found out you were a king without a kingdom. You're a king without authority. You're a king without power. You really a vassal. I'm going to tell the whole world this. You're really nothing. You're a pawn. You think you sitting on the chessboard as a king, as a queen, as a knight, as a rook? No, you're a pawn. And y'all can go in there and holler and vote and stomp out and get mad all you want. The real rulers are the ones that when they say something, that's what happens. And it ain't but two of them. Really, it's one. But remember, the one is split in two. One is religion, one is military. So they don't give a dang what nobody say. All that other stuff is formality. Whoo, this wicked world. If y'all know the more telling the truth, put a hallelujah 100 in the chat, please. Everybody can see it. And I was like, how y'all, everybody got a Bible and can't nobody read it, I guess. He says that you get a chance to just hang out with the beast, but you really have no power. Okay, how did I get over there? Oh. That's what makes this fall unique. The collapse of this empire has behind it our king. What? It does. I want to say this to the world. I know you don't want to hear this, but I got to tell you anyway. According to the Holy Bible, our king is doing this. Doing what? He's pulling these nations that think they're all that. He's hooked them by the nose. He's hooked them by the jaw. And he's dragging them into Megiddo. He's dragging them into the valley of decision. He's dragging them into Armageddon. He's dragging them into a conflict, honestly, that ends up with him. They will begin first devouring one another. Ooh-wee. And then they'll recognize, like, wait, hey, we all got to come together. Why? Because them Negroes, king and them came back. We all got to fight him. And that's where they're going to make a huge mistake. Woo-wee. What? I'm going to get to that in a second. You know what? I've been in the room. I ain't even said, look, shalom to everybody. Hopefully you can see the more and hear me all right. Don't forget to like and share the video. That should be obvious by now. Because as I said before, this is so that the word of Yah can go out. Not necessarily because some kind of way it's going to just give us numbers. Numbers is not the point here. The point here is that we want this truth to continue to go out to everyone. And that they'll be encouraged. So that's why we ask that you like and share the videos. Also, support the work of the ARK as we seek to do the work of the kingdom. And the way we do it is through 10% of our income. We budget 10% of what we get goes to Abaya. This is just me personally. 10% go to me. I'm not a slave. So when I'm working, 10% off the top go to Yah. 10% goes to me to do whatever, and I live off the 80. I'm going to teach that lesson later on. I can't go to work as a slave no more. I'm free. I don't care if my 10% was just $10. Guess what? 10% to Yah If I get $10, I'm going to do what I want to with it. I got lessons coming on that. Why? Because I'm not a slave, and I'm not going to let the society put me in slavery no kind of way. But that's not my lesson tonight. But I will be, as I promised last time we were together. I said, so many of you all are interested in that I've actually started putting together something for you. It's coming. Show you about this living and how to do it. So that's how this ministry is supported, through the tithe and the offerings. Also sharing these messages. And of course, never forget to pray for me, because I am constantly in need of your prayers. Okay, so now let's go back to this idea that it's Yah causing the collapse. That Yah is bringing down this wicked society and this wicked world because of their wickedness, because of their sin, because of their crimes against humanity, namely our captivity and slavery. That's the reason. That's the main reason for this collapse. They stole everything from us, including our identity, our language, our history, and I'm going to talk about this later on today, our scrolls and our menorahs. When they took away our national symbol, they took away our scrolls, which was the Torah. They took away our name. They took away our laughter. They took away our heritage. They took away our money. They took away our silver. They took away our gold. They took away our mountains. They took away our streams. They took away our promised land, which means they then destroyed our houses. They trampled our city and our streets underfoot. We were dispersed from the land, ran throughout the continent of Africa, ran down to the south, ran all the way to the west, ran as far as we could run. But them heathens continued to pursue us, just like the curses said they would. They pursued us until we couldn't run no more. Then we were captured, sold to our enemies. No one bought us out of captivity. We still live in the land of our captivity today. And we live but it's almost over. So I want to talk about that. The fact that one of the major themes in the Bible, I'm talking about a major theme that we don't deal with that much, is the destruction or the destroying of those who held us captive. It's all through the Bible. As a matter of fact, I've said this several times. I will say it again tonight. Salvation itself, the idea of saving, the idea of, people say, I'm saved, I have salvation. The biblical idea behind the word, the real true meaning, is deliverance. Now, what the white man tried to do is say deliverance from the devil. Their emphasis is just being delivered from the devil. But that's not the deliverance he's talking about. What he's talking about, the Bible is not talking about being delivered from a spirit called the devil. The Bible's emphasis is delivering us from people who worship the devil. Delivering us from people who full of the devil. Deliver us from people who are on, like I heard my brother say, who are sucking the paps of the devil. That is the Bible. It is not some ghost floating around that we got to be worried about. It It's the demon that's in the people that do us harm. And the ultimate deliverance is not just, quote unquote, from a spirit, it's from a people. All through the Bible. And the word picture for salvation that you must keep in your head, it's one of them, but the one you got to keep in your mind the most is what David told Saul about him being a shepherd. How many times have you heard the Moreh give this illustration? David says, I was watching my father's sheep, and a lion came and took one of the sheep. He said, I went to the lion, grabbed him by the hair. Think about that. Pried his mouth open, got the lamb out. Then I killed the lion. That's the picture of salvation. The bear did the same thing. He said, and I killed the bear. And he says, and I'm going to kill Goliath. And it's the same thing. Yah's going to rescue us. And he going to kill the leopard. He going to kill that bear. He's going to kill the beast. He's not talking about mythological creatures just flying around in the sky. He's talking about the people that are the bear, the people that are the beast, that held us in their teeth to destroy us. But before they could destroy us, he rescues us and kills them. That's the picture. That's why he tells you and I, come out of Babylon. Why? I'm killing everybody there. I'm saving my remnant and everybody else going to hell. I'm going to kill them and then throw them in hell. That's how the book ends. And so with that, I want you to continue to have that in your mind. The world is not going to be happy to see the return of Hamashiach. The Bible says they're going to mourn when they see him. Y'all think they not finna lay eyes on not nary a white boy coming back. They not gonna lay eyes on no blonde hair, no blue eyes, no white skin. He is not coming up out of the loins of Japheth, nor will he resemble anything looking like Caesar Borgia. He's gonna look just like any other so-called black man. And when they see him, whoo-wee, it's gonna be straight fear. So that day is coming, and of course he tells us to get away from this system, separate yourself, and don't touch the unclean thing. Now, if y'all still rolling with the Moreh to this point, I just wanted to get us to a point where we're all on the same page. So put a 1,000 in the chat. We have established something, and that is we would be without hope. I'm going to turn our revolver in 1,000. We established in the Bible that we'll be without hope. With our last name, we wouldn't know who we are, whose we are. We wouldn't be able to get back home if we wanted to. All these things are true of us right now. We would be powerless against our enemies, so therefore we have no military might. Matter of fact, no nation in the world will even let us have anything militarily. They let every other nation have something except us. If three of us to get together and have a slingshot, if we get three of us together and can start shooting a slingshot, they're going to pass a law. Hold on. No more slingshots. They won't let us have nothing when it comes to any kind of military might, political might. Really, I can go on and on with that. But the Bible prophesied all of that concerning our condition. We would be as a nation destroyed, and the destruction would mean that we would be hopeless. We would be so bad, we would say all of our hope is gone. So you have a situation that's impossible. And when it gets to that point, that's when our king has promised to show up as the branch. Okay, and we've done already a study on the branch where we talked about that being our king. We connected the branch to the menorah. We've already connected the menorah to the burning bush. The burning bush situation with Moses was a sign that I'm coming to rescue my people. The menorah is the same symbol that Yah is going to rescue his people. When Hamashiach is in the world, he says he is the light of the world. He's the menorah. He tells us that you are the light of the world. He's speaking about the branches of the menorah. Talking about the house of Israel. You are not a light all by yourself. In him was life, and that life was the light of man. So any enlightenment that we have comes from our relationship to him. And the only relationship that you can have with our Messiah is a relationship through the covenant. And I hate to tell y'all this. I hate to be the bearer of this news, but I gotta tell you, there is no relationship with Hamashiach outside the covenant. It's just not. I've been studying this thing. It's not. I've been looking. And then you ask the question, so what did we have all this time? And my answer, I don't know what y'all had all this time. What did my grandpapa and them have? I don't know what they had. The only thing I can say about grandmama and grandpa is that they might, and I'm talking about slim chance, that our king will say to them, like he told us in Malachi, I'm Yahuwah, I change not. That's the only reason you're not consumed. That's the only reason I didn't let the world just kill all of y'all, just wipe you out. Because I made friends with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. It had nothing to do with you. If he's gracious to you, it has nothing to do with you. It has something to do with your grandma and your grandpa. Abraham and Isaac and Jacob. You owe them. I'm not taking that chance. Because I understand that the blood of Hamashiach solidified the covenant, ratified the covenant, made it permanent, and once again gave us access to our promises and to our covenant. We got access to our covenant by his blood. And to reject the covenant after the crucifixion of Hamashiach is to trample his blood under your foot. Nobody is going into the kingdom of Yah. Nobody's been to walk golden streets, trampling the blood of Hamashiach under their feet. Some of y'all won't even let somebody walk in your house if they walk through some mud. They'll tell me, hey, don't be bringing that. You can't bring that into here. But you want to bring the blood that you done walked on the king's blood and got nerve thinking you're going to walk on his blood and then walk up into his house and walk up into his temple and you done trampled his blood under your feet. Y'all out your mind if you believe that. No. The whole Bible speaks about a remnant. And in the last few minutes that we have, I want to talk about how these two things are together. Again, I want to show you there is the collapse of the empire, that this evil empire that has held us in captivity. I ain't got time to get into all that again. There's the rise there's the awakening of who we are and whose we are based on scripture. And we get symbols to help us. One of the symbols that is given to help us is the menorah and also this word branch, the idea of a branch. So write this in the chat. I want you to write the branch and his branches. Write it in the chat. Take notes. The branch and his branches. I want you to see it. Some of y'all already saw it as soon as I mentioned it. Why? Come a seer. When Abiyah called me to be a seer in the house of Israel, he told me how he was going to bless his people. He said, the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to show you. And when I show you, you show them. So now y'all seeing it in a whole nother light. All I said was the branch and his branches, and your mind started running through the whole Bible. Oh my, oh my, oh my. Of course, it's supposed to. Because you already know that the branch is the menorah. Now certain verses of the Bible start to stand out. Like, I'm the vine, you the branches. The vine itself is a branch. It's a branch that we call the vine. Don't do it more. Wait a minute. Y'all ain't going to believe what we're going to do on Shabbat. So just tell you that right now. Just hold your horses. You don't even know where we're going on Shabbat. You have no idea. Woo-wee. But watch. I ain't got it. That's not the only one. Watch this. He says that we are branches. Who? The house of Israel. Oh, come on, Moreh. Go. I was going to start in Revelation and go backwards, but I changed my mind. I'm going to start in Romans. Go to Romans. I'm going to show you something with this theme. Oh, by the way, this is Drash. I'm giving you an example of deeper study. Okay, so I told you surface, then what it hints to, and then Drash points to a deeper meaning backed up by scripture. All right. And for those of you who are studying with me, the laws of biblical interpretation, I will tell you now, it may go over your head a little bit, a couple times tonight. Just don't trip. It's okay. You will survive. Just hold on. But I'm gonna jump deep in a minute. There's gonna be a couple times it's gonna get deep. Letting you know. We're going to slide into the soul level a little bit. And that soul level is a very, very dangerous level to the stupid and the ignorant and the unlearned. It's dangerous when you try to operate in soul and you don't know the Bible. You're not familiar with the scriptures. You don't know the characters. You don't know the prophets and the law and all that. And you try to operate in the soul level. That's a level that you really shouldn't be dealing with. It's too deep for you. You will mess around and bring destruction to yourself, trying to be so spiritual, trying to be so smart, but you're really dumb, trying to be so, act like you can see so well and you can't see nothing. That's a very dangerous level to try to skip the first three levels and just try to make people think you're so spiritual. Don't do that. Don't do that. Tonight, as a teacher, I'm sharing with you that we are going to be looking at a theme, but taking it to another level. All right? And the level that we're going to take it, I'm not going to drown y'all. It's not what I said. I said it's going to go over your head. It's okay. Before you drown, we'll get back to the shore. Hallelujah. But I gotta pull you out into some deep water, right? So the idea of a branch, we saw the branch as a bush. We saw the branch as a candelabra, right? We saw the branch ultimately as a man. Now we're going to see the branch as a nation. Okay? So now we're going to see the branch as a nation. Listen to the more, right? And the nation is going to be a tree. So we go from the bush to the menorah, we see a man, a king, and then we see a tree, which is a nation. And in the tree, we still have branches. So for those of you who may get lost in this study, it's okay. You can always stop the video or you can watch the rest of it. You can come back and look up some things, pray about it, and then you can come back later. But let's look at something that Paul was doing with this concept of the branch. Go to Romans chapter 11. Romans chapter 11. And this is not the only time he does it. This is just one of the times he does it. So I can't bring everything out in the same night, but let's just bring out one example. All right? So we're going to go to Romans chapter 11, and I can actually start at verse 1. Romans 11, chapter 1. I say then, has Yah cast away his people? That's the question. When I started to read it, my Bible's all marked up, right? When I started to read it, my eyes went up to a mark that I underlined. I said, oh, that's right. I forgot I gotta bring this out. When in Romans chapter 10, in Romans chapter 10 is where we get the so-called famous salvation verses, right? You've heard it if you've ever gone to any kind of revivals, if you've gone to any kind of so-called church meeting, they always skip the whole book of Romans, but they read this verse. Brethren, my heart's desire and prayer to Yah for Israel is that they might be saved. But they don't really know it's talking about Israel. That's us. They in their brain, when they say Israel, but really they're talking about the white Christian church, which is really strange how they do that. So the argument Paul is making is not about no white Christian European church, because there is no such thing as that. He knows nothing about that. Israel has never stopped being Israel. Judah has never stopped being Judah. Benjamin has never stopped being Benjamin. Levi ain't never stopped being Levi. Joseph has never stopped being Joseph. Ephraim, Manasseh, his sons, they never changed. Ever. That's us. There is no so-called white European church that has replaced us as Israel. It don't work like that. So in chapter 10, he's talking to Israel. Brethren, my heart's desire and pray to Yah for Israel is what? That they might be saved. Why? Because I bear them record. They have a zeal of Yahuwah, but it's not according to knowledge. They don't know Torah. All they have is emotion. Just like us today. Same people. Just stepping fetchits. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's really trying to understand this. Nobody's trying to get real, true knowledge. Especially today, what most people are doing is regurgitating the lies that come up out the white Christian church, because you were taught that these white people knew the Bible better than you. And I'm trying to tell you they don't. I can read some stuff out of these commentaries will make your hair stand up on your neck. You'll be like, this is what they've been teaching us. Like, it's right here. This is where your pastor got this from. This is where your deacon and your bishop and they not reading the Bible. They got it from right here. And I can show you. It's white folk misrepresenting our Torah. The Bible has never left Israel. Just understand that. It will not. As a matter of fact, let me put this in. When we get to the Revelation, the actual place that we call heaven, that's coming here, is called New Jerusalem. The names on the gates and the names of the foundations are all Hebrew Israelite. The 144,000 witnesses, Hebrew Israelites. Wait a minute, don't do that. You're getting off of it. If y'all understand that, I showed you the Revelation to tell you there's nothing written after the Revelation. That's it. Amen. That's it. There's no addition to that says, oh, and by the way, he's going to reject his people, the natural house of Israel, and then he's going to replace it with white Europeans called the Christian church. And he'll have Sunday instead of Shabbat. He'll have Easter instead of Passover. Oh, Yah's going to be so pleased when we get rid of first fruits for a communion wafer. He's going to be so happy when we get rid of Shavuot for Mother's Day, when we get rid of the Feast of Trumpet for 4th of July, when we get rid of Sukkot and substitute it with Halloween. Oh, Yah's going to be so pleased, that heathen going to hell. Whoa! Even changed the name of our king. So in chapter 10 of Romans, we see it's for Israel. Brethren. Who do I notice, brethren? Chapter 9. When you go to chapter 9, he says, I say the truth. Verse 1, I lie not. My conscience bearing me witness. In the Ruach HaKodesh, I have great heaviness and continual sorrow in my heart, for I wish that myself were accursed from Hamashiach for my brethren, my kinsmen, according to the flesh, who are Israelites. Paul told you where his heart is. Paul told you everything you needed to know about Israel and their relationship when he's writing this book. You just don't know it because you've been brainwashed, but I'm trying to help you. When we get out of verse 1 of chapter 10, watch the more. When we get out of verse 1, he immediately goes to Torah to prove that the people didn't know Torah. For they being ignorant of Yah's righteousness, that's Torah. Going about to establish their own righteousness, traditions of man. Have not submitted themselves to the righteousness of Yah according to Torah. That was the downfall of the nation when he says that if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray, seek my face, Torah. He said they didn't do it. And then he says that the whole purpose of Torah is Hamashiach. So then when you get to verse 4, 5, he literally tells you in verse 5, Moses describes the righteousness. It's too deep. I told you we ain't swimming. I'm just pulling y'all into the deep water right now. So as Moses as he's pulling you into this deep water, he does something in verse 6. But the righteousness which is of faith speaketh on this wise: say not in thy heart, who shall ascend into heaven? That is to bring Hamashiach down from above. The idea here is he's following a whole passage in Deuteronomy. More, what? Yeah, none of this is coming off the top of Paul's head. Not one line. This is Deuteronomy like to the letter. And what he's arguing is, how is it that you, Israel, don't understand what's written in your own Torah? You misunderstood it. And so from verse 5, he starts talking about Moses, and he goes all the way down to verse 11, where he quotes another prophet. And guess who the prophet is in verse 11? Right? Isaiah. It's Isaiah. So he dealt with Torah, and now he's lining up Isaiah. When you get to Isaiah, where it says there's no difference between the Yehudim and the Greek, for the same Yahuwah overall is rich unto all that call upon him. Isaiah is the one who tells us plainly that the Gentiles will seek Yah as a result of us turning to our King. That's Isaiah. I got into an argument. It wasn't really an argument because I won. It wasn't worth fighting. It was a stupid fight, really. But I got into an argument with somebody who tried to tell me that Gentiles not getting in the kingdom. And y'all know, you can't bring stupid things to me. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a kindergartner. I'm a professor. I have a doctorate. I don't care what you see about my black skin, whatever you want to think. I am a theologian. That's all I do. That's what I've been called, what I put on earth to do, is to study this Bible. And that is almost not even worth arguing. It's stupid. that the Gentiles can't be saved when Isaiah clearly speaks about the Gentiles following us to Mount Zion to be taught by our King. I ain't got time right now. I just want you to understand. People say, well, I don't follow Paul. If you say you don't want to follow Paul, then you're going to have to get rid of Isaiah. And if you get rid of Isaiah, I promise you got to get rid of David. All the Psalms got to go. And you get rid of them Psalms because you say you're going to have to get rid of Joshua. And if you say Joshua didn't understand it, then you're going to have to get rid of Moses. And if you say Moses didn't understand it, you have to get rid of the whole Bible. And that's why some of you niggas won't use the Bible. You want to use extra biblical books. Going to hell for that too. So, oh, right. That's right. You just read the Bible. You better believe it. Can you believe that's my reputation? Don't talk to him. Why? Well, he just studies the Bible. He don't know about these books. He don't understand. What, that you done pulled out some old dusty, dirty, and damp swamp cave written by some kind of wicked, demonic, satanic, demon-worshiping devil? You done knocked the dust off of some kind of wicked, evil, spiritual wickedness that was probably written by a 4-year-old. You don't know nothing about that book. Written by a heathen. Probably written by some kids making a horror story. You don't know nothing. All he studies the Bible. Let me tell you something. Say it in your smug way all you want. Let me tell you something about this Bible. Whew. This book will be here when the world's on fire. Heaven and earth will pass away. And this will be still here. While all of the belts that tie Orion will be loosed before this disappears. All of the flares and the heat and the rays of the sun will turn to icicles, and this will still be here. Niagara Falls will turn into a drip, and this will still be here. So yeah, all I know is the Bible. That's a pretty good reputation to have. And what I'm telling you in this Bible is the Gentiles get saved if they put their, I'm going to prove it tonight, but I got to show you the branches. They have to do something though. There's something they have to do. When we get to chapter 10, verse 16, it says, but they have not all obeyed the gospel. 10:16. For Isaiah said, we still in Isaiah, who hath believed our report? Morehyosh, I've been talking about that for a while. So the question goes out, who believed the report? So then faith, which is really emunah, it's not my message tonight, I'm just going to go past that for now. But being rescued by Yah and placed inside the wall of protection and fastened back to the covenant that we're supposed to be fastened to, which is in him, That comes by hearing. And that don't come by hearing some wicked scrolls you done found in Hamiteville, or something that you done dug up out of the snow, out of the snow-packed mountains of Russia, or dug out from under some Mayan cave somewhere. Woo! Hey, no, no, no. Hearing of the word of Yah. No, and this is all Isaiah. But I say have they not heard? Yeah, verily their sound went into all the earth. Verse 18, right? That comes out of Psalms. Their sound went into all the earth, their words unto the ends of the world. But I say, did not Israel know? For Moses has said. Now there you go again. So now we back to Torah, right? Now that's Moses. Do you see what Paul is doing? None of this is coming off the top of his head. None of it. All this is coming out of his study of the law and the prophets and the writings. It's not no new religion called Christianity. Y'all going to hell for putting that on Paul. And I'm going to keep telling the world that as long as I live. Y'all still running with the Moreh, put a 500,000. I'm almost through. Put a 500,000, please. But I say, did not Israel know? First, Moses says, I will provoke you to jealousy by them that are no people. What? And by a foolish nation will I anger you. So we see a division. We see a division. And this is why Paul, in the very beginning of this book, said, I'm ready to now preach this message because I got a proper understanding of it. He said, I realize that it's for the Yehudim first, because they are first. He said, and then to the Goyim, or to the Greeks. Right? So that's how this book starts. And this is like the climax of the book. This is the top of the book. This is where he's going in this book. Paul's got a point that he's trying to make. And it starts in chapter 1, and it's starting to reach its the most important and the zenith of his teaching. The climactic part of the book is right here. So what is he talking about during this whole book? It's coming down to this right here. Let's look at it. Verse 20 says, Isaiah is very bold and said, I was found of them that sought me not. I was made manifest unto them that asked not for me. But to Israel he said, all day long I have stretched forth my hands to a disobedient and gainsaying people. So we know that is Isaiah 65. If you read the whole book of Isaiah, you would know that that is a theme. That is a recurring line through the whole book of Isaiah. You're going to see it says, and his hand is stretched out still. People, and his hand is stretched out still. That phrase is used through the whole book of Isaiah. So the idea of Isaiah is, as the house of Israel is sinking into sin, degradation, breaking the commandment, breaking Torah, families falling apart, wickedness, theft, murders, whoredom, and all that. And now they continue to spiral out of control, going down, down, down. Isaiah keeps saying, but Yah's hand is still out. He's stretching his hand out to Israel. Why? It's a picture of the branch. It's the picture of him stretching his arm out to reach, really, I'll get to that later, to reach his bride that's falling into a pit. He's trying to help her not fall into the pit. He's trying to help his people. So he says his arm is outstretched still. Just do a Google search if you need to. Not a Google search. I guess you could Google it. But you can do a word search and find out how many times that's said in Isaiah. So that's what Paul assumes you've already read the whole book of Isaiah. So when he says, I have stretched forth my hand to a disobedient and gainsaying people, he's like, that's the whole book of Isaiah. They don't listen to him. Remember, I told you that Isaiah sees us. The beginning of Isaiah, chapter 1 through 5, but I'm just going to say for now 4, because 5 is poetic, is the result of Israel not listening to Isaiah. It's the result. So he starts the book with the end result. And then he goes into the book. When we get to chapter 6, that's when he starts his prophecy. That's when he starts, okay, let's go back. How do we get to this terrible situation? They got movies out that do that now. I have to use that term for some of y'all. I use that example. Some of you all go to a movie and they show you the ending first, and then they back up, and then they say, now, how did we get here? How do we end up at this point? And then they back up, and then they start off, and that's what he does in chapter 6. He says, it was in the year the King Uzziah died that I saw Yahuwah. All right? So watch. Paul understands that because obviously he's very familiar with Isaiah. And the way Isaiah ends the book is that Israel doesn't turn. Even when the Messiah is about to come back, Israel is still eating swine under trees, talking about I can do what I want. They're still eating gumbo, pots of abomination, so much so that the Messiah says, when I come back, I'm going to kill them for doing it. And when we tell preachers that and pastors that and our family that, they say, he won't do that. And so they just keep eating them. Why? Because their pastor told them that they could do it. And then their pastor was told by a white man that they could do it because white people love pigs. They have nothing to do with the Bible. The Bible said don't eat swine, don't eat the pots of abomination. So we're not supposed to do it. Now, what time is it? You got to be kidding. I done did it again. Nope. We're going to get into 11. So this is why, so when he ends in verse 21, because it's not the end of his thought, right? This is a continuous thought. There shouldn't be no chapter break here. I say, then has Yah cast away his people. So the fact that he's got his arm outstretched and they are disobedient, gainsaying people, and through the whole book of Isaiah, 66 chapters, his arm is outstretched. His arm is outstretched. His arm is outstretched. So the average person would come away with this question. Well, then, if it ends with them not knowing who they are, not knowing where home is, beat to death, Stockholm Syndrome, women ruling, men are gone, stupid boys that are immature, selfish, and oppressive, run the city, run the community. Women are willing to become whores just to take on a man's name. It's crazy. So you would say, he got to be done with them. That's Paul's argument. Paul's arguing with himself for you. I say then, has Yah cast away his people? Stop. Why? Because if that was you or if that was me and we were doing everything we could to rescue our wife, to rescue the remnant, to rescue your family, your children, somebody would say, I know you eventually gave up, didn't you? And you know what Paul says concerning concerning Yah? He said, has he cast away his people? Yah forbid. Yah forbid. No, never. Absolutely not. No, he has not. Yeah, but didn't you say they did this? Okay, and they did. But he didn't cast them away. Why? He made a promise. A couple of times, woo, we got close. Now I'm gonna, what time is it? Okay, I'm gonna do it. For I'm also an Israelite of the seed of Abraham. He said, yeah, look, I'm here. If Israel was cast away, then how am I doing this? How am I seeing this? How am I writing this to you? No, Yah has not cast away his people. He says, for I'm also an Israelite. I never forget, like I said, y'all, most of my friends were pastors. I remember when I told them that we was Israel. They came back with, who is Israel? Or, you can't be no Israelite, or, white Jesus got rid of Israel. Ain't no Israel now. It's just a church now. It's all about believers now. There is no such thing as Israel. There's no such thing as Judea, the Judah and the house of Israel and all that. All that really was just a picture of the church. And I told them, you're going to go to hell for that. When I began to confront my pastor, which I thought were my illustrious counterparts, I thought were my divine brothers of the cloth, that I thought were my colleagues, I found out fast that these niggas is full of shite. They all faking. They don't know nothing. I could not believe it. They didn't know nothing. And I'm trying to figure out, how did you pastor for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years? How did you do it? You don't know the Bible at all. You don't know nothing about the Bible. And I found out how they do it. It's called the gift of gab. They can talk. And most of our people are so weak behind a Negro's ability to talk, we don't listen to what they're saying. Our people even had a saying among each other. They would say, we had a joke that ran all over this nation, all over the world. And the joke was, people would say, whoo, Pastor Shaw did preach. And somebody would say, what did he say? He said, I don't know what he said, but he sure did say it. That was a joke that ran among us. We didn't care what he said. We just care how he said it. If he said it with flair, with rhythm, with song, with a hoop, with a hum, we was done. That's how we wanted. So he could shout you. They wanted to feel good. And so Negroes developed a way to make people feel good, and they have no Bible. You don't need a Bible to do that. I can do it at will. About anything. I'm already going with that. I'm not lying. That's one of the reasons. Now when I preach, I'm preaching based on the truth of Torah. So now I have a right to sing. I have a right to shout. I have a right to dance. I have a right to hum, to holler. I have a right. Why? I have a right because now I'm writing the text. I understand it. So yeah, I'm gonna holler. Oh, for sure. Oh, for sure. But hollering ain't necessarily the preaching. Hollering is celebration. But what people have done, because they have no Bible, they're not using the Bible. They're tickling the ears of the people. And that's all people want is entertainment. Before the nigga even start talking. Okay. All right. Okay. What, nigga? You ain't said nothing. Wow. Oh my. You gonna say it? And then sometimes they be like, oh my. I'm just seeing. And everybody, what you seeing? I'm seeing beans and rice. Huh? I'm seeing, well, hold on. I see beans and rice. I see beans. Whew. And I see my grandma. I see my grandma's hand. And then, and I see beans and rice, and I see my grandma's hand. Anybody in here remember your grandma's hand? And nobody could touch like your grandma's hand. Grandma's hand and grandma's hand and grandma's hand. Hey, with all of that, she was stirring the bean with grandma's hand. Oh, I miss my grandma's hand. And niggas is running. Ah, Rich! Oh, grandma's hand. Y'all know I'm telling the truth. He ain't studied no Bible, no verse, no doctrine, no Torah, no covenant, no insight to the word, no Hebrew language, no culture, they don't know the Hebrew alphabet, they don't know the word, nothing. They don't care because the people are so dumbed down. And I realized that. I said, oh, they are ecclesiastical clowns. They're play actors. They're performers. They're pulpit pimps. They are the Wizard of Oz. They behind the curtain, pulling levers and carrying on. It's a show. And for them not to see something that's so on the surface, like the house of Israel, especially when somebody show them, like me. You can't say Israel is done away with and then read Paul's writing and say, has Yah cast away his people? Yah forbid. So whatever doctrine you have, if it's against that, you need to flush it down the toilet. Why? Because Paul is quoting the prophets. Now let's read and get out of here. Hath Yah cast away his people? I'm in verse 2, chapter 11. Has Yah cast away his people which he foreknew? What? Here it comes. Don't you know? You don't know the scripture saith of Isaiah. Again, he's saying you don't know the Bible. How he makes intercession to Yah against Israel, saying, Yah, they have killed thy prophets and dig down thine altars, and I'm left alone. I mean, this is Elijah. Sorry about that. He's bringing up Elijah. And I'm left alone, and they seek my life. But what saith the answer of Yah to him? This is what Yah told Elijah. I have reserved to myself. This is, by the way, this is in 1 Kings chapter 19, verse 18, Torah. Paul not making nothing up. He never does. I've read all Paul's writings, back and forth, forth and back. I've studied every word that he's ever preached, that he's ever said. And every time he speaks about something, he's always got a Torah reference. Always. I've reserved to myself 7,000 men who have not bowed a knee to the image of Baal. So he said, even when it looks like it's completely over, Yah has always kept a remnant. It's the theme of the Bible. Even so, at this present time, there is a remnant. Oh, you see that? If y'all saw verse 5, woo-wee. Put another 500,000 in the chat. Even so, at this present time, there is a remnant. According to the election of grace, which is Hen, the wall of separation. Abba Yah always will have those. And if it was not for this remnant, remember Isaiah said that we would be as Sodom and Gomorrah, which we know that means we'd be destroyed. The same thing that Malachi said. When Yah was like, it's only I'm Yahweh, I don't change not. Then he said, return to me. How? Tithes and offerings. That's what they said. How do we rob you? So return to me, stop robbing me. So you have this picture of these prophets who've been saying the same thing. They don't contradict each other. If there is a contradiction, it's on you. It's on your stupidity and your ignorance of the study of the word. And don't get mad at the Moray for calling you out on your stupidity and ignorance. You are ignorant. If you think these prophets are contradicting each other, you haven't read them. And I know you haven't. Why? Because I have. It ain't no high horse. This is a fact. Watch. Even so, then at this present time, also there's a remnant. According to the election of grace. Oh, I ain't got time for that one. Now watch this. And if by grace, then is it no more of works. Otherwise, grace is no more grace. But if it be of works, then it is no more grace. Otherwise, work is no more work. Stop. This is the verse that a Negro tried to show me to tell me that we don't have to keep Torah. I said, you're going to hell for that too. That is not what Paul is saying, and you know it. What Paul is saying is what he's been saying. You did not set up the plan of salvation. You did not build the house of salvation. You did not write the covenant. You did not. All of that, including choosing the house of Israel, was all Yah. Same exact thing Moses told the house of Israel. He said, look, I hope y'all don't ever think that the reason why you were chosen by Yah is because you was the best people, the smartest people, the most right people. He said, I hope y'all don't think that, because that's never been the case. As a matter of fact, he said, I'm trying to figure out why y'all called you. You're really the most wicked. Sometimes, seem like to me, y'all got the most problems. You was weak. One of the prophets said, you were born in captivity, and your mama just dropped you with your umbilical cord and the afterbirth still attached to you when Yah found you. She didn't bind you up. She didn't salt you. She didn't put you in swaddling clothes. She just birthed you on the ground, left the umbilical cord, the afterbirth, and everything. And that's how I found you crying in captivity, full of blood, nobody holding you, nobody bound you up, nobody wanted you. Yah said, but I wanted you. That's what Paul is arguing when it comes right here. He's talking now about Yah's choosing. And they trying to use that to say that Paul said the Torah been done away with. You going to hell. Paul ain't said nothing about the Torah been done away with. He's talking about election. Election is by Yah. Somebody watching the Moreh right now know good and well you were shocked when Yah chose you. You were shocked. You started looking around thinking somebody was talking to you. Who's talking to me? You Israel. No, I can't. No. I don't know where this is coming from. I don't know what's happening. Let me go to sleep. Wake up, you Israel. Wake up, you part of the remnant. Wake up. Caesar Borgia is a white man from Europe. He's not Hamashiach. Wake up. The Shabbat's never been done away with. Wake up. Halloween is of the devil. Wake up. Christmas is of the devil. Things killing. Wake up. This food is killing you. Wake up. Read the Torah. And you was like, and you know that it was not based on your works that he woke you up and that he chose you. Because you know, just like I know, that ain't nowhere in the world we did something to deserve being chosen. Paul is talking about choosing. He is not talking about keeping the Torah right now. And you preachers and pastors, you know it because I done taught this lesson before. The reason, I can't do that tonight. The reason that Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, and all the other prophets had such a hard time prophesying was because they were prophesying to a chosen people who did not understand how great of a privilege it was to be chosen. So they would just cry. How many times Yah was sending preachers and pastors and prophets, waking them up early and sending them. You Gomar in the story of Gomar and Hosea. You the one on the auction block. You the one that was unfaithful. Look, we can't answer certain questions. Which ones, Moreh? The why. Because I don't know why he chose me. And I don't know why he called me. I don't know why he was willing to be nailed to a crossbeam and shed his innocent blood. Innocent for the guilty. He's the light, willing to die for those of us in darkness. I don't know why he would keep calling us every day. Come on. Come on. So, yeah, I want to... Y'all be asking questions that I can't answer. And I'm not going to wait until I get all the answers to start keeping Torah. I ain't going to wait till I know everything before I pray and turn my life back to my King. I don't have to understand it either. I know some people say, man, I hear what you're saying, man, but I just don't understand it. Like you get a pass. I could stop you from moving right now if I told you, don't move unless you understand, and I give you a list. Do you understand the air that you breathe? Do you understand how the lungs bring it in? Do you understand how your nose was formed? So that the air on the outside, when it's cold, would be warmed as you brought it through your nasal cavity. And when it's hot outside, that same air is cooled down. Tell me how. How was that a part of your design before you got here? Did you do that? Or was you just born and they tapped you and you went to breathing? You better stop talking to me like that. You can't tell me how Avaya can send down the root of a seed to go deep down into the earth. And watch this. Bring you up 2 gallons of bottled water, wrap it in a green rind, a green outside, white inner rind, with all of the water cut into red, soft flesh, each drop of water held by its own cell, and it's over millions and millions of cells, and they won't drop out until you either squeeze it or bite it. Then all of the bottled water, the cell, it goes into your system, already purified, already given the right amount of sugar, already able for your cells to take it and then do some kind of weird exchange. Next thing you know, you got energy. Then you can take that same seed, put it back in the ground, it'll do it again. How long, more? For thousands of years. I don't understand. I don't care what you know or understand. It don't matter to me. I already know you don't know nothing. We are learning. We're growing. We're studying. But at the end of the day, we don't know where. Okay, I'm preaching. I got to stop that. But at the end of the day, We don't even know where he hides the snow in the summer. At the end of the day, yeah, at the end of the day, we don't know. The book says the election is by grace. And ain't no getting around that throughout the whole Bible. Yah made a choice of his own, and he chose Israel. Now, you heathens that don't like that, that's your problem. He chose us. You Hamites that don't like it, that's your problem. And even my cousins, you Arabs that don't like it, he chose Jacob. I know you want to go back and change the time, but Esau sold his birthright. He didn't steal it. And he sold it for a bowl of soup. He despised his birthright, and Abiah rejected him and made sure that Jacob got it. That's the Bible. Y'all gonna leave me alone? I told you. You gonna leave the Moreh alone. When you find out, I read it. Talking about when nobody told me. Well, Esau's the one should have really got at you a line of wonder. The father have a right to give his birthright to whoever he wants to. Show me. Bring a King David. I dare you. David had several children before Bathsheba. But he told her, hey, he chose one he wanted. He chose his own heir. Can we take credit? No. He's talking about election, not keeping Torah and not working for the kingdom. That's not what he's talking about. He literally uses the word election in verse 5. Verse 7, what time is it? I'm so far over time, I might as well go on and finish. Verse 7, what then? Israel hath not obtained that which he seeketh for, but the election has obtained it, and the rest were blind. There's the remnant. All of this is Torah. Everything that he's saying. It's come straight out the Old Testament. How you know, Moreh? I read it. According to as it is written, Yah has given them the spirit of slumber, and the eyes that they should not see, and the ears that they should not hear, unto this day. And David said, let their table be made a snare, and a trap, and a stumbling block, and a recompense unto them. Let their eyes be darkened, that they may not see, and bow down their back always. So, of course, that's a picture of those that want to act evil and want to go against Torah, want to reject the king, don't want to keep the covenant and all that. He was like, then just let them. Later on, he's going to say all Israel is not Israel anyway. There's the remnant. The remnant is the election. Always. I got a whole series called, one of the administrators let Jazz know I'm teaching. Let's see. Are we here? Are we good? If y'all can see the Moreh, you can hear me all right. Would you place a 12 in here for the 12 tribes of Israel? Oh, somebody. Is that Netanyahu? Shalom, Mark. Good to have you in the room, man. Yes, sir. My brother from another mother. So we see here, that Israel as a nation did fall. But verse 11 says, I say then, have they stumbled that they should fall? That's utterly fall. Once again, Yah forbid. But rather through their fall, now this is the cold part right here. Through their fall, salvation is come unto the Gentiles. Now, I know that y'all not going to catch this, but I'm going to give it to you anyway. Before we leave, I'm going to at least lay it out. I told you I'm going to drag you into the water. I'm going to take you deep, and then I'm going to have to leave you there until tomorrow. Y'all be treading, just do your arms like this. Don't drown. I'm already way over time. So watch. I want to just show you this. The idea that Israel's fall, salvation is come unto the Gentiles, has to do with the fact that our fall away from Yah resulted in our being dispersed amongst the Gentile world through captivity. And that's something. Our fall away from our covenant, away from our king, made us vulnerable to the attacks of this king of killing, this demonic, satanic slaver who got together according to the Torah as a confederate and divided up the house of Israel among themselves. And therefore, we saw the scattering of the house of Israel into all nations. And the scattering of all Israelites into all nations means that the very presence of us there means that there is hope for a heathen who's around us. It's hope for a heathen that befriends us, that tries to help us, that understand who we are and whose we are, and say, hey, I want to go with you. How do you know, Moray? Because on a very small scale, I've done that. What? Yeah. When Javon was young, my oldest boy was young, he'd be out doing something, out playing with his friends. Either out, across the street, next door, or down at the school. And I'd be getting ready to go skating or something, or get ready to go to the movies. So let me go get Javon. So I roll up to go pick him up. And he's standing there with his friend, European. I'm like, yeah? Oh, Dad, can he come with us? No, I know he ain't got no money. He can't buy no popcorn. He can't buy no ticket. He ain't gonna pitch in for no gas. I already know he can't do nothing. But Javon said, can he come? Can he come with us? I told him, then he said, I told him he could come with us. So you spoke for me. You just know I can take him. You just know Pop's got money, huh? You just know I got it like that, huh? You just know I feel like hanging out with a heathen right now, huh? But you know what? I hold all that in and I say, of course you can come, man. Get on in. And they jump in the car, jump in the truck, and they be whispering in the back. I told you. Man, my pop's cool like that. They just cool like that. So watch. If it's that level with an earthly father and his son's friend, what do you think Abaya is going to do with the heathen who recognizes who we are and recognizes that our king is coming to take us home, and recognize that his people are wicked as hell, and recognize he on his way to hell, and he talks to one of us and say, where you going? And we say, we're going home with our father. Where's home? We're going to Holy Jerusalem. And then he say, can I go with you? Now let's read it like it's supposed to be read. And then I'm done. But rather through their fall, we got scattered, is come unto the Gentiles, for salvation is coming to the Gentiles to provoke them to jealousy, which goes back to that, that goes back to my, what Moses says. Now, if the fall of them, now this is the part that I'm gonna drag y'all into deep water tonight, but I'm going to read it though. I'm not gonna go deep like I would, but I'm gonna read it. I gotta have it on this video. Verse 12, Romans 11:12. Everybody underline this. In your Bible, highlight it. Romans 11, verse 12. Now, if the fall of them be the riches of the world. Paul saw what the law and the prophets was trying to teach us about our captivity, that nobody could see until this generation. And what is that? Everywhere we went into captivity, those nations became rich. Everywhere we went into captivity, those nations became powers and superpowers. Everywhere we went into captivity, it elevated a nation. Now, y'all, that's really, I could stop right there. But if you know that everywhere we have ever been taken into captivity, we caused that nation to become unbelievably, almost grotesquely rich and wealthy. I need you all, if you would be so kind, put a 900,000. You know we're almost done. Paul said, the fall of them, us Israelites, be the riches of the world. Every nation got rich because we failed. You do know that the promised land was from the Nile River to the Euphrates and the Tigris. Some of the most wealthy land on earth, from Turkey to the Persian Gulf, from the Nile to the Tigris, was ours. We lost it through disobedience. And as a result, every nation of the world got rich off of us. And still getting rich off of us. Making billions and billions of dollars off of our songs, and then giving us 5 cents, 10 cents, $1. Making billions of dollars off of our acting and our movies, and then give us a quarter. Give us, they still doing it. We came up with, I told you, I think it was 800 inventions in this country, and won't pay the descendants, won't pay them the money for the patent. Use our blood and transfusions. Use the blood of our people to cure diseases, and won't give the relatives of the people's blood they use reparation. Everywhere we go, we make the nation rich. And that's what Paul said. If the fall of them be the riches of the world, and the diminishing of them the riches of the Gentiles. That's what happened. As we were diminished, the Gentiles got rich. Now watch this. How much more their fullness. For I speak to you Gentiles. Now he's going to talk to the Gentiles. What do you want to tell the Gentiles? Inasmuch as I am the apostle of the Gentiles, I magnify my office. I'm finna show you why I'm really here. I'm not going to have nobody mistaking this. Let me walk in the call that I'm supposed to be walking in. If by any means I may provoke to immolation them which are my flesh, and might save some of them. What? Paul, I thought you was, he said, man, don't get it twisted. Don't get it misunderstood, bud. The only reason I'm preaching to you, white folk, Greeks and Romans, the only reason is because hopefully by my preaching, it stirs up my people. For if the casting away of them be reconciling of the world, what shall the receiving of them be but life from the dead? Did you see it? He's like, if they were cast out and the Gentiles got rich off of them, spoiled them and all that, and they are a dead people, what is this world going to look like when Yah gathers them? I can't do this lesson tonight. I just told y'all. Just dragging you into this water. I already told you this is Drosh. It's going to make you think. What does the world look like if Yah receives us back other than the greatest story of resurrection? Where do you see that? Ezekiel, I think 37. What is that about? The nation of dry bones being resurrected by hearing the word of Yah. And it's the greatest resurrection story that we see. What? Bones that were separated, that were scattered throughout the valley and very dry, by just hearing the word of Yah, started coming together, just like we're doing right now. It's the fulfillment of prophecy. And I know this is going over your head a little bit, but that is also a picture of limbs. We say that about our bodies. We say these are our limbs, right? It's like branches. So we see the coming together. We see the coming together. I went a long ways to get here, huh? We see the coming together or the resurrection of the branch. The resurrection of the tree, if you please. The resurrection of a people. So we don't only have our branch, the King Yahushua, but we also have his branches, which is us. And we are connected to him. It will be the greatest resurrection story this earth will ever see. What? The niggas are going to wake up. The remnant of the house of Israel that was called nigger, spook, coon, dirty, hood rat, jigaboo, square, chucker, whatever. That, yes, the people that were treated bad, because the greatest story that's getting ready to be told is when Abba Yah resurrects that people. Now, I'm going to read, but I can't continue to comment on each verse. But I'll read it to get it in the video. For if the first fruit be holy, the lump is also holy. What's that word, set apart? And if the root is set apart, then we already know who our root is, right? So are the branches. And if some of the branches be broken off, some, not all, you heathen. You can't replace the house of Israel. He said some. If some of the branches are broken off and you, talking to these Gentiles, being a wild olive tree, were grafted in among them, and with them partaketh of the root and the fatness of the olive tree, that means the sap. That now you get grafted in. That's what he said. If a couple of branches fall off because of unbelief, and you get grafted in as a wild olive tree, and now as a wild olive tree, you starting to take the sap, you getting grafted, you getting the nutrients and the water, and this, and you become alive. Don't you start bragging. Exactly what these heathens done. Boast not against the natural branches. You can't never come in among us bragging about nothing. You cannot come in the house of Israel running nothing. White supremacy don't work over here at all. We don't play that. You can't be talking about Israel been done away with. And you can make your own laws and your own Shabbat and your own food and your own diet and your own feast days, and you don't care nothing about the natural branches. You're gonna even change our symbol from the menorah to the cross and all that. Now you going to hell. Stop that. You not grafted in. And I'm gonna tell all you Christians, y'all got your own church fathers. Look them up. They are European. They going to hell. Look them up. They don't say Moses. They don't say Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. They don't talk about David, King Solomon. They don't talk about none of them as fathers. Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, Daniel, Hosea, Joel, Amos, Obadiah, Jonah, Micah, Nahum, Habakkuk, Zephaniah, Haggai, Zechariah, Malachi. None of them make your founding father list. You're going to hell. You done stuck white people in at your father. If that's not bragging, all you Hamites doing the same thing, y'all going to hell too. If that's not boasting against the natural branches, I don't know what is. Boast not against the branches, but if you boast, you bear not the root. You know, when you boasting, man, that's the stupidest thing ever. That ain't even your root. How can you change the tree and you a branch, and those not even your roots? The roots are Hebrew Israelite. The root goes down into our faith, our fathers, our forefathers. You don't bear the root. The root is holding you up. Thou will say then, the branches were broken off that I might be grafted in. Well, because of unbelief, yeah, you're right about that part. They were broken off. And you stand by faith. Don't be high-minded. Don't be getting lifted up in pride because you saw that. You better be afraid. Because if you saw what Yah did to the natural branches, you better take heed, lest he also spare thee not. In other words, do the same thing to you, heathen. Behold, therefore, the goodness and severity of Yah on them which fell, severity, but toward thee goodness, if thou continue, if you continue in his goodness. Otherwise, thou shalt be cut off. That's what's happening now. And they also, if they abide not still in unbelief, shall be grafted. And they also, if they abide still, if they abide not still in unbelief. In other words, now he said, but if my people who were cut off, if they start to believe, shall be grafted in. For Yah is able to graft them in again. It's us. That's what he's doing right now to the remnant. For if you were cut out, for if thou wert cut out of the olive tree, which is wild by nature, and were grafted, contrary to nature, into a good olive tree, how much more shall these, which be the natural branches, us, be grafted into their own olive tree? Did you see it? If you saw it, go and put a 1 million in the chat. That whole writing of Paul is drosh. It's the drosh level of biblical interpretation. You see how he did that? You see how he took the branch and he didn't just talk about it. He used scripture. He used illustrations. And he used revelation to show branch. He also took the same idea of the branch, connected it to the olive tree. Again, drosh. For now, as an olive tree, you and I are supposed to know something about grafting. I didn't get into that tonight because I ran out of time. He also talked about something that these white, once saved, always saved people going to hell for that, for teaching our people this. He showed that you could be grafted in and then cut off. You could be in and then out. You could be apart and then cut out. You could be cut off and then grafted back in. That is the Bible. And once you believe what the Bible has written and stop trying to push a doctrine in it, it'll make the Bible read so much easier. Your name, that's a whole nother drosh level. I was going to do that. I can't do that right now, but that idea of being written, what? In a book. Or blotted out. Or written in. Talking about, I said some magic words. I know I'm in. Nigga, you ain't in. Heathen, you not in. The way we stay connected to Torah, to Yah, the way we stay connected to Yahushua Hamashiach is through the covenant. And that covenant is in his blood. It's by blood now. It's a blood covenant. Woo, time failed me tonight. But if it had not, I was going to show you that our king right now, his focus is on his branches. What, Lord? I was going to show you in the revelation about that menorah. I was going to show you. But I ran out of time. Woo-wee. That's his focus now. sub-branch now has his focus on his branches. John said, I look. What'd you see? 7 lampstands. Okay, I gotta go. I told y'all. I just ran out of time. Enjoyed being with you. Grateful that you came in the room. If you learned something tonight, if you were encouraged, consider supporting the work of the ARK full-time ministry. We got some big plans coming up in the very near future. We need your support so that we can stay full-time bringing you this type of content. Enables us to continue to study, to teach, to preach, to do workshops, and to do all the other things that Abaya has us doing. Remember our affiliated members and people of the Koalition. Support them. Support Tahilah. Putting in this work for the kingdom. Full time. She's doing stuff, you know. Support all of them. Jazz and Netanyahu, and pray for us. Yes, for sure. What's he brewing? And Annah Jack putting out music. I think I just saw that Joy is putting out something. And you know I'm gonna be right there getting it when it come out. So our people putting in work for the kingdom. And we need to support. We need to support them. And as I said already, pray for us. I hate stopping without getting to the end of my message, but we'll pick it up here next time. I love you from the bottom of my heart. And until next time, keep looking up, for our redemption draws nigh. Shalom.